UFC Fight Night 104 from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Dennis the Menace Bermudez against Chan Sung Young in the main event, otherwise known as the Korean Zombie.
That's right. Should be quite a scrap.
Now, as far as this fight is concerned, I mean, you have to favor Bermudez, right? But you never want to count out the Korean Zombie.
That's what I was about to say. I don't think it's quite as easy or quite as succinct as that. I don't think you can just completely rule out the Korean Zombie that quickly. Let's actually break it down to their most recent performances, because I usually find that to be a pretty good indicator of what we can expect. And Bermudez, he's won 2 out of his last 4, lost to the bully Ricardo Lamas, lost to Lil Heathen Jeremy Stevens, got finished in both of those fights, and he won 2 decisions since then. Tetsuya Kawajiri, that's quality because that's a tough fighter. Honey Jason, also a really tough fighter. So he's kind of on that bubble of he's not beating the best guys in the division, but he's beating some decent to above average guys in the division. So the jury is still out on Bermudez, but this is a really big chance for him to prove himself, because the Korean Zombie is a guy who will walk through hell and come back again. This guy has had some really incredible wars, and one of the best fights you could ever hope to watch would be his bout with Dustin the Diamond Poirier back in 2012. But he's also been plagued by injuries and fights that have fallen apart, and last time we saw him was 4 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, but it's been more than a minute. So you've got to really wonder what kind of Korean Zombie we're going to get, because if he's as good as he was back in those days when he put together that 3-fight win streak against Bad Boy Leonard Garcia, Mark Hominick back when he was still a pretty big deal, and Dustin the Diamond, Korean Zombie was really on some shit there for a little bit. But after that loss to Jose Aldo, he's been out for a while. So we're just going to have to see what it's going to be.
So this fight here, it's a case, you're right, it's a case of what zombie shows up. Now the thing is, with a fighter like Korean Zombie, his fighting style, yes, it's exciting to watch, but it doesn't lend itself to a fighter who's, from a longevity standpoint, is really going to be around. And as you said, he's been off for a while, so I'm sure there's going to be some ring rust, so to speak, for him. Bermudez is going to have to win. I think he'd have to strike early, and he might be able to catch the Korean Zombie early and maybe end this fight in the first or second round. But do you think Korean Zombie's fighting style lends itself to waiting until the second or third round to really check off the rust and really go for the win?
No. I think if you're Korean Zombie, you want to get started fast and not get into a prolonged war. That didn't work out with Jose Aldo, so I don't know that you want to do that with Bermudez either. If you go 4 rounds, you're giving Bermudez every opportunity to clean your clock.
Now, if Bermudez wins this fight, do you give him a title shot or have him in the conversation for a title shot or number one contenders fight?
Well, I don't know that I can make that argument. Again, given that Korean Zombie has been on a very extended layoff, I don't know if you can just go out there and say that puts him in contention. I think you can say it's a quality win over a recognizable name, but if you're looking at the featherweight division right now, Jung isn't even ranked and Bermudez is number 9, so I don't think this moves him up against, the competition above him, guys like Yair Rodriguez, Charles Oliveira, Anthony Pettis, the aforementioned Little Heathen, the aforementioned Ricardo the Bully Lamas. He's going to have to move up by beating one of those guys. I don't think beating the Korean Zombie can do that for him.
So Bermudez has more to lose than to gain here with this fight.
I think that is a very accurate assessment, Peter. I could not put it better.
Alexa Grasso fights Felice Herring in the co-main event.
Yeah. Well, before you move on to that, I was trying to pull up the betting odds. So, if you will give me 1 second here.
So, as Stevie's looking that up, Grasso is undefeated at 9-0, and Felice Herring is 11-6. So, either an undefeated fighter hits double digits, or suffers her first loss, and Herring That's a good name to hang your hat on if you win. So.
Bermudez is minus 190, Korean Zombie plus 165, Grasso minus 290, and Herrig plus 245.
Yeah, they're not. That could change at the weigh-ins, though.
It could, but I don't expect it to. I feel pretty comfortable with both of those lines. I think Bermudez, given the long layoff for Korean Zombie, that's the right line, and Grasso is definitely the fighter with more potential, although Herrig is definitely tough as nails and not to be overlooked.
Abel Torrio fights James Vick in a very intriguing fight there for Vick.
The current line on that one is as follows. We've got minus 105 for Trujillo and minus 115 for Vick. So it's basically a coin flip. So how do you pick in this one, Peter?
I got to go with Vick.
Well, his only loss so far has been to Dariush, whereas Trujillo's on a 3-fight win streak, but the last really big fight he had was against El Kukui, and he got submitted by a rear naked choke. So it feels a little to me like Abel Trujillo is a killer who's always just going to be on the cusp and then get the big fight and maybe not get over the top, but this would be his perfect chance to prove me wrong. So, we'll see, but I'm kind of leaning your way with going with the Texecutioner because I feel like other than that one loss to Beneil Dariush, I didn't see a single fight where I thought he looked bad.
Now, speaking of picks, Stevie, did you beat Ace?
I think I went 3-2 this week.
And did Ace submit the picks properly this week?
I don't remember any mistakes.
Okay.
Do you want me to go back and look?
No. I was just curious because he was busting your chops pretty good when he had him on a couple weeks ago. So look the third man in on that fight, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to Volkan Ozdemir. I hope I say that right. Ozdemir versus OSP.
I gotta go with OSP on this one. The odds makers do as well. Minus 310 to plus 255. It kind of seems like just a tune-up fight for OSP. I've got to wonder, it was probably set to face somebody else. I think it was Jan Blachowicz maybe, and this just seems like it's a late replacement fight. This is not a caliber of fighter for OSP.
No, OSP is this is a fight that how do I say this?
You're talking about the number 6 guy in the division, so he needs to be fighting guys at that level.
He does. And if he loses here, it's a guy who's 12-1.
Yeah, but of those 12-1, who are the 12?
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm asking you, who are the 12? You're obviously looking at his record right now, so you tell me.
Well, I'm just thinking when it comes to OSP, I'm not saying he's Jekyll and Hyde, but this is a fight that he should win. Now, I know what you're saying. I see the 12 and the 12 and the... Yeah. I don't know who the 1 is in 12-1 there, but...
Oh, actually, I do. Kelly Anunson, I know who that is.
Okay.
And that... you know what? I probably did see that fight because that was Bellator. But... I don't remember anything that Ozdemir did in Bellator that made me just stand up and go, wow, I must have missed his fight at Bellator 105 when he won by TKO. That was probably an early prelim fight. He lost the fight to Anunson, so of the 12 guys that he's beat, I mean, I'm looking at these names going, like, he lost the one fight to a guy whose name I know, and the rest it's like, Angelier Benjamin and Benyek Mohammed and Mohammed Amidi and Bruno Farias Grancho and Hanelson Santos. I mean, okay, where's the signature win for Ozdemir? This would be the signature win. If he beats OSP, that would be a huge feather in his cap.
Oh, absolutely. The other 2 fights on the main card are Marcel Fortuna versus Anthony Hamilton and Jessica Andrade against Angela Hill.
The odds for those, Hamilton is the favorite, minus 175, plus 155. Andrade is a huge favorite, which doesn't surprise me at all, minus 465 to plus 370. So you're looking for your parlay and you want to make some big bank, then put it on Hill and put it on Ozdemir, because that would pay out pretty good if they both won.
Now, on the prelims, there's a very intriguing fight, in my opinion. Beck Rawlings and Tisha Torres.
Yeah, Torres is minus 240, plus 200 for Rawlings. That seems about right to me.
But, I mean, that could be fight of the night if they're both going like Rock'em Sock'em Robots here.
Well, Rowdy Beck Rawlings doesn't usually have boring fights, so expect fireworks in this one.
Absolutely. As far as the fight pass, I like Nico Price against Alex Morono.
Yeah, that's a proving fight for Morono. He's 13-3 and looking pretty good from dating back to his legacy days up to his debut in UFC, but it's definitely getting to about that time where if he strings together one or two more wins, he needs to really move up and fight some of the upper echelon welterweight guys. He's one of those guys that's on the bubble right now.
Yeah.